Arrivederci, sayonara. Who actually gives a crap? They've been The Walking Dead for like the past decade or so, but I remember I was online at the time back when Rooster Teeth was one of the big names in the online independent content creator sphere. This is old internet stuff, so if you're not familiar with a lot of these names, well, quite frankly, on the Rooster Teeth side of things, I'm really not. Like, I wasn't a fan of Ruby, the Red versus Blue, right? Like, that was one of the big machinimas, game-based videos with voiceovers, okay? Like, that was one of the big ones, okay? And then also running at the same time, that was more my speed. RB and the Chief, I decided to side over there, and then I know that there was a lot of crossover, but kind of stuck with, RB and the Chief stuff as opposed to Red versus Blue. Some friends who were watching it at the time, back in its infancy, and then of course I don't know the rest of the stuff. They started to go more into the anime stuff, moving away from the machinima, moving away from the gaming stuff. And then when they also started to become an aspiring production house themselves, bringing on how many different brands under their banner? Like, they had a whole bunch, man. Yes, ultimately, being purchased up by Warner Brothers Discovery, and then seemingly out of the blue, unless of course you knew everything that was going on behind the scenes and you had a bit more information. This whole suddenly closing up shop announcement and have been all that surprising because they have been dwindling in relevance for, as many people are pointing out, it's like Rooster Teeth hadn't already shut down. Like, they've been The Walking Dead for like the past 5-10 years at this point in time. How are they still going? Well, they're not anymore. Company Warner Brothers Discovery, after unsuccessful attempts to sell the unprofitable fandom. Oh, why is that? Well, we'll get into that. Gaming and Comedy Entertainment Division is shutting down Rooster Teeth operations. RT General Manager Jordan 11, you don't say, announced the shutdown of Austin-based Rooster Teeth at an all-hands meeting Wednesday in a memo distributed to the staff. We'll look at some of the memo. It's a long boy. I digress. The closure of Rooster Teeth will result in layoffs of approximately 150 full-time employees and will throw dozens of contractors and content creators out of work as well. That kind of sucks, but if you're working with Rooster Teeth at this point in time, as somebody who has a little bit of inside information, it's like you get what you deserve. The heavy heart, I announced that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in our consumer behavior and monetization across the platforms, advertising and patronage. You know what that means right there? Nobody's watching our new woke content. Well, big shock on that one, okay? After they took reputation hits by just hopping on the bandwagon to cancel Vic Mignogna, by being one of the production houses at the forefront of pushing all of those bad ideas. Hey, imagine that. You go woke, you go broke. It's un-goddamn defeated. Levin wrote in the memo obtained by Variety, our legacy is not just a collection of content, but a history of pixels burned into our screens, minds, and hearts. Yes, Warner Brothers Discovery is currently in talks to sell the rights to certain Rooster Teeth catalog content and intellectual property, such as the popular anime-style series Ruby, pioneering sci-fi spoof, pioneering sci-fi. It was a Halo machinima, red team versus blue team, like that. Anyways, and Michael B. Jordan's animated mecha series. Yo, I had no idea that was a thing. Yeah, wonder why they couldn't make their monetization. Imagine that at a time when independent media is more popular and profitable than ever. I've only been around for a quarter of the time that Rooster Teeth has been around, okay? 3.5 years. I've been doing this for 3.5 years. And every one of my appreciable metrics continue to tick up and up and up and up. Why? Because I'm authentic. At least that's what I like to think, okay? Regardless if it's a popular view or not, okay? You are getting what I think on a topic regardless. It might not be lining up with some of my more conservative proclivities, okay? When it comes to my politics, it's pretty cut and dry on most issues, but every once in a while, I'm not going to line up with a bunch of the other big conservative talking heads, okay? I don't have an ideological drive to my opinions, but they are my opinions, and that's what ended up sinking Rooster Teeth. They didn't have their own authentic voices. They had the company narrative. They had whatever they thought wouldn't upset their audience. But when you make that fundamental change, you end up realizing that, oh, in the age of authenticity, in the age where people are seeking out individuals to dispense to them their information, their entertainment, if they're just trying to comport themselves and be the same disingenuous individuals that we turned off the television and other big conglomerate websites years ago, why are we doing this? But that is so many other companies and content creators are going to have to wrestle with here, because the course is starting to get corrected, and it's shutdowns like this, it's money drying up and other woke endeavors. It's the likes of the big boogeyman of all the people that think ESG is, the driving force for all of these things. Again, that's where I break formation with so many other people that are out there. I don't think that, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're out there, they're the big puppeteers. Oh, it's everything that's going on up there. It's like, okay, cool. They're hedge funds at the end of the day. Why would they want to sink all of their investments, make none of them profitable? The dollars don't make sense. Why would big mega corporations like that continue to do that? And then just recently they came out and said, oh yeah, all of these projects, yeah, they don't really look like they're making the same return on their investments. So what little influence, what little money that they were floating out there for the people to just go ahead and line up for all of this stuff, we're going to start to see. It's going to take a little while, okay? And that's why I want to plant this seed very early for everybody to realize that we're going to start to see some people maybe start to take, a couple more steps towards sanity. I'm moving away from leftist narratives, simply saying, well, I just had to go along to get along. I was never really for all of this cancel culture stuff. All of those woke ideas never really sat well with me. I want you guys to watch the tide change in real time, because it's going to be happening. Because for all of those people, those cowards that were out there that wouldn't stand up on their own principles, on their own values, you're going to see them shift just like a windsock. Wherever that wind blows, that's the direction that they're going to be pointing. Authenticity has been a guiding principle of this channel, of all of the content that I put up. I don't regret any video that I put out there, even one of the 15 that ended up getting me struck, in the secondary channel that got taken down, and I was never provided an adequate answer as to why. I had one strike, and I thought 3 was what's supposed to take you down, but hey, never got closure on that more than a year later. And I do it all again because it's authentic. It was the truth. Still is the truth. Now it's the truth that you can talk about across what happened in 2020. From jabs, masks, a virus, to an election. 15 plus strikes. I lost count. Won some, I lost a bunch. One that continues to stick in my mind was simply pointing out that Texas dropping their mask mandate didn't end up resulting in that winter of death that Joe Biden was predicting. That got me struck. That got me a week vacation back in early 2021. And now you have all those mainstream outlets starting to go, oh yeah, that jab, it's kind of getting linked to a bunch of things. Isn't that interesting? Sure glad that we know this now. You bunch of bastards, you inauthentic bastards. It was out there. If you looked, you could have found the truth. But no, continue to stick your head in the sand. Just go along to get along. That's what killed the reputation of so many people that are out there. And that exact same practice is what ended up with Rooster Teeth having to send out this memo that since our founders created and uploaded their first video to the then called World Wide Web in 2003, Rooster Teeth has been the source of creativity, laughter, and lasting innovation in a wildly volatile media industry. We've read the headlines about the industry-wide layoffs and closures, and you've heard me give my perspective and updates about the rapidly changing state of media and entertainment during all my months in the all-hands-on meeting since inheriting ownership and control of Rooster Teeth from AT&T and following its acquisition with Time Warner Brothers Discovery, continued in the investment in the company. I hear content, community, whatever, and a bunch of corporate speak. Now, however, it's with a heavy heart I announce that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior. Yeah, you tried to court an audience that was never there. The old mythical modern audience, it isn't there. They're terminally online. They don't support the content and monetization across platforms. Imagine that, trying to be squeaky clean in order to chase those beautiful ad dollars didn't end up paying out for you. Imagine that. Advertising and patronage. Yep, nobody is support. You could have just wrapped that up with, we decided to shift our narrative, and the dollars were drying up because authenticity checked out years ago. Then, of course, hey, just for simple posterity's sake, just want to point out that Super Best Friends Plays, Giant Bomb, Rooster Teeth, Zero Punctuation, The Escapist, ESP will continue to live on in infamy. long after we are all gone. Him and Keith Richards. Those are going to be the only people that are left at the end of the world. But it's interesting. That's somebody that I've actually been at the same event as way back in 2013. Yeah, okay, and it actually does tie into Rooster Teeth as well, because there's another acquisition merger that wasn't pointed out here as well back in 2014, prior to the Warner Brothers acquisition. There was another company that bought Rooster Teeth that also bought one of my favorite and cherished content houses. Is that the proper way to refer to ScrewAttack? But yeah, Full Screen bought Rooster Teeth. They bought ScrewAttack back in the cut, merged them together, tried to make it work. Well, where are both of those companies now? Oh yeah, back on the skids. I'll tell you what, okay, if you've been a long time viewer of the channel, you know that I brought this up before. I've been to SGC, ScrewAttack Gaming Convention, back in 2013, 2014, flew down to Dallas, stayed at the Hyatt Regency, and I forget the name of the hotel for, 2014. It was after the Full Screen acquisition and about the time where I was like, yeah, there's a different tone and tenor to this, okay? And the way that Craig talks about it, Stuttering Craig, the former owner of ScrewAttack, the guy who ultimately pulled the trigger on the sale of the company that he started all the way back in 2006, it was a completely different tone and tenor for the company. Because SGC 2013, that's one of those cherished memories I will hold on to forever, and I can directly thank Craig for that. It's something that I put my own money into. They were running a fundraiser for that at the time, and yeah, I supported it. Oh, I've showed off all the tchotchkes that I still keep, okay? For all of the stuff that I've thrown away, gotten rid of, put into storage over the years, I keep the ScrewAttack stuff that I have not that far away from me, because those old memories, that old company, provided a lot of great content from the time that I started watching them. So to see Craig come back and run his own very successful podcast with Side Scrollers right now, which was the name of the old podcast and the first piece of content that ScrewAttack ever put out there, is a wonderful thing to see. Now he's talking about, trying to reacquire ScrewAttack, and the show that ultimately grew bigger than ScrewAttack and became a driving force for Full Screen to purchase and buy out ScrewAttack. And the only reason that Craig, because ScrewAttack, it's not like ScrewAttack was failing at the time. He sold it off in 2014. The monetization structure of YouTube, of the internet in general, was a hell of a lot different than it is right now. And then the way that Craig tells it is that he sold the company that he was working on simply to pay his employees, give them security. He cut every single one of them a $100,000 check, and then he ended up getting pushed out of his own company. Now for him to buy it back, to buy back the brand, to re-release, because all of that stuff, all of those old videos, all of the old top 10s, all of the old video game vaults, the clip of the weeks, okay, all of that stuff, it's gone. It's privated on the ScrewAttack channel, which has now been rebranded to the Death Battle channel that had over 1 million subs, all been mothballed. All of that history, 10 plus years of content, ScrewAttack website, gone. You can't access any of that stuff, and all of that's internet history, man. Them Craig and the guys calling out Soulja Boy back in the cut, like, I could reminisce about this stuff all goddamn day. Gee, man, just to go ahead and release that old content, it would be great to see. It really would be great to see. So here's Craig's post, okay? And we're going to take a look at some of the reactions here and really drive home the point that Rooster Teeth, their audience, the audience that they ended up cultivating, is a big reason why they're dead right now. With Rooster Teeth officially dying today, I want to buy back ScrewAttack and Death Battle. Hey, Warner Brothers Discovery, let's make it happen. And then the follow-up a couple hours later, wow, you guys are hyped at this idea. That's amazing and means a lot. If this is a possibility, I mean a real one, would you be open to helping make it happen through a GoFundMe or Give Saying Go? If I was able to buy it back, I promise I will never sell it again. And as you can see in the replies, lot of goodwill. Lot of goodwill. Because I've heard about Craig's plans, okay? He just simply wants to re-release the content. They put up a new piece of content like they had every day on ScrewAttack, a new piece of content every day. Just do that so that the decade of his online life isn't lost. I think it could be phenomenal. Yeah, man, in the replies themselves, a lot of people, we're with you. Yeah, okay. Fully support all of this stuff. Hope it goes through. Okay, all of the replies are fantastic. Then you start to get into the quote tweets, and well, that's when all of the goofy ass Rooster Teeth, quote unquote, fans. Brand vandals is probably a little bit more appropriate, but
Reminder to Death Battle fans that Craig is buddy with Yellow Flash of all people, someone that is very publicly homophobic.
oh my god, like, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the biggest fan of Flash, but like, if that's the best that you got, really hope you have, you know, digital backups of all of your favorite Rooster Teeth shows, you freak. But not exactly the biggest own possible when you go ahead and post a live stream with 15,000 views on it. Okay. Probably could have done something a little bit better that might have pushed your narrative that, oh no, he's just not popular at all. Interesting. As the biggest fan of Death Battle, which actually, you know what? Me personally, that was some of the content that I watched the least. I know that it was that it was super popular, and hell, I was listening before when it was first pitched as an idea by Ben. I was like, I watched the first couple episodes, and I was like, you know, it's an interesting idea. I was like, it was never really a driving force, but it ended up becoming huge because, yeah, you know, you put two major pop culture icons against one another. You go into, you know, autistic levels of detail and figuring out who would win a fight. I can see why it's popular. And obviously, you know, they rebranded the entire channel based around it and made, you know, multiple shows spinning off of it. Just haven't heard hide nor hair of it in the past, about 10 years or so. I'd rather let it die than become whatever piece of shit this would be after this guy gets his... After he greenlit the show as a part of his business. Like, what are you doing? In case people aren't aware, Craig is very much homophobic and bigoted enough with the point where he's best buds with Yellow Flash. Is that the talking point that's running around out there? But as you can see, you could just go through all of this stuff, okay? But hey, man, you can just go ahead, okay? Like, I got my quote tweet that's up there, okay? I personally contributed to and attended multiple ScrewAttack events. Getting the brand back under the correct stewardship is something I want to be a part of, and then, yes, of course, make all of that stuff happen, because I'm still, even if, you know, the people who were a part of a lot of that content aren't exactly upstanding individuals, it's a great piece of internet history. Shouldn't be mothballed. And with the Rooster Teeth stuff, even though I'm not a fan of it, but just having it resigned to the dustbins of history, yeah, ain't exactly something that I'm keen to see. Yeah, you want to see you see a glaring example of how if you court a certain audience, all of these anime profile pictures, big shock that they're going to end up having some of the worst takes that are out there. Trying to stand for a dead company, trying to attack the guy that made it all possible. Yeah, good ideas that you have right there. Congratulations. The only reason that we're currently talking about this, Rooster Teeth shutting down, being no longer profitable, is because of freaks like you. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.